So when you're working on headhunting a role for one of your clients, more often than not, that search is going to run on for maybe a couple of weeks or a couple of months, depending on how difficult the roles to fill. And what I'm going to show you today is how you can use the Giig platform to save a search, so that if you run a search on the system, you can save that and easily pull that search up again at a later date. So if you every week you can come back to it, open up the search and just pick up where you left off in terms of running through your candidates. So if I share my screen with you, you'll see that I'm in the candidate database, and the first thing that you want to do is come up to the advanced search and start to fill in the requirements for the candidates you're looking for. So for this example, I'm just going to use AWS or Amazon Web Services as an example. So if I was to search that, the system will now pull me a list of candidates that have got AWS in their CV as a skill. And obviously there's only 5 records here, so it's not a huge list to go through. But what you can do is you can come up to the save option here. If I say AWS search, and that search will now save. So that's there for you to come back to at a later date, so that you can recircle. If you're working through a list of say 20 or 30 candidates or 50 candidates, you can come back to that at a later date and, like I say, pick up where you left off without having to redo the search every time. And in this load save search option, there's a search that I made earlier, SQL. So that gives you an example of there. It's just pulled up a list of candidates that have SQL. Now that save search is all part of the first stage of what we're calling talent pools. So at the moment you can, as I say, create a saved search which just creates that individual list for you. But we're going to look at ways in the future of how every time you add a candidate that matches that save search, that it's automatically added into that talent pool for you.